Guys, thank you for watching this video. I am Melky here and I'm reading Microsoft Service Agreement. First of all, I am not giving a professional advice and I am so prone of mistakes. I'm just exploring reality through playing circuit of the brain. Right now, in this video, I'm tuning for the right frequency like a radio, making mistakes as I go. So there are going to be mistakes. So I'm not giving you any professional guarantee or whatsoever. So please take this with a grain of salt and consult with your own professional advisor for situations in your life that needs such advice, or if you are going to use this information or whatsoever for high stakes matter. Because I'm not giving you like some kind of warranty that I'm going to compensate for that. And for information in this video also, it might apply differently in different situation as well. For the disclaimer part, I also agree with Law by Mike. Check out his channel and his shorts about disclaimer. I am inspired also by his video. Alright, let's start with reading the Microsoft Service Agreement. It is going to apply in 15th of August if I'm not mistaken, but so pretty soon it's going to replace the previous one and this one is going to apply. So let's start. Existing Microsoft Service Agreement. Introduction to the Microsoft Service Agreement. The Microsoft Service Agreement is an agreement between you and Microsoft or one of its affiliates that governs your use of Microsoft consumer online products and services. We understand that you may have questions about Microsoft Service Agreement. We have a frequently asked page and there's a link there that provides more information, including what Microsoft products and services it covers. Whenever we make changes, we provide a summary of the most notable changes to the current Microsoft Service Agreement. We will also continue to provide a summary of the changes to the previous version and a link to the previous version of the Microsoft Service Agreement on the summary of changes, and there's a link there. Summary of arbitration provisions. The Microsoft Service Agreement contains binding arbitration and class action waiver terms that apply to US residents. You and we agree to submit disputes to a neutral arbitrator and not to sue in court in front of a judge or jury except in small claims court. Please see section 15 for details. Estimated reading time 55 minutes with 14,268 words. Microsoft Service Agreement, June 15, 2022. What is new? If you live in or your principal place of business is in the United States, please read the binding arbitration clause and class action waiver in section 15. It affects how disputes are resolved. These terms cover the use of those Microsoft consumer products, websites, and services listed at the end of these terms here, and there's a link there. You accept these terms by creating a Microsoft account, through your use of the services, or by continuing to use the services after being notified of a change to these terms. So let's go to the link right here, and this is where it applies. Covered services. The following products, apps, and services are covered by the Microsoft Service Agreement but may not be available in your market. Account.microsoft.com, Ask Cortana, Bing Apps, Bing Dictionary, Bing Image and News, iOS, Bing Maps, Bing Pages, Bing Rebates, Bing Search APIs or SDKs, Bing Search Application, Bing Translator, Bing Webmaster, Bing.com, BingPlaces.com, Collections, Cortana Skills by Microsoft, Cortana, Default Homepage and New Tab Page on Microsoft Edge, Dev Center App, Device Health App, Dictate, education.minecraft.net, excuse me, Experts for PowerPoint or Preview, Face Swap, Feedback Intake Tool for Azure Maps aka Azure Maps Feedback, Forms.microsoft.com, ForzaMotorsport.net, Groove Music Pass, Groove, GroupMe, Lineback, Link to Windows, Maps App, Microsoft 365 Business Standard and Microsoft 365 Apps, until a commercial domain is established for use of these services, at which time separate Microsoft commercial terms will govern instead. Microsoft 365 Consumer, Microsoft 365 Family, Microsoft 365 Personal, Microsoft Academic, Microsoft Account, Microsoft Add-ins for Skype, Microsoft Bots, Microsoft Collections, Microsoft Defender for individuals, Microsoft Educator Community, Microsoft Family. Excuse me, gotta do something else first. I'm back now. Microsoft Academic, Microsoft Account, Microsoft Add-ins for Skype, Microsoft Bots, Microsoft Collections, Microsoft Defender for individuals, Microsoft Educator Community, Microsoft Family, Microsoft Health, Microsoft Launcher, Microsoft Math Solver, Microsoft Movies and TV, Microsoft Pay, Microsoft Pix, Microsoft Research Initiative Science, Microsoft Research Open Data, Microsoft Search in Bing, Microsoft Soundscape, Microsoft Start, Microsoft Support and Recovery Assistant for Office 365, Microsoft Teams, Microsoft Translator, Microsoft Wallpaper, Microsoft Show Eyes, Mile IQ, Minecraft Games, Minecraft Realms Plus and Minecraft Realms, Mixer, MSN Dial-Up, MSN Explorer, MSN Food and Drink, MSN Health and Fitness, MSN Money, MSN News, MSN Premium, MSN Sports, MSN Travel, MSN Weather, MSN.com, Next Lock Screen, Office 365 Pro Plus, optional connected experiences, Office for the Web, formerly Office Online, Office in Microsoft 365 Consumer, Office in Microsoft 365 Family, Office in Microsoft 365 Personal, Office Store, Office Sway, Office.com, OneDrive.com, OneDrive, OneNote.com, Outlook.com, Paint 3D, Phone Link, Presentation Translator, Rinna, Rise for Fun, Seeing AI, Send, Skype in the Classroom, Skype Manager, Skype.com, Skype, Smart Search, Snip Insight, Spreadsheet Keyboard, Store, Sway.com, To-Do, Microsoft.com, To/Do, Microsoft.com, Translator for Microsoft Edge, Translator Live, Your Weather, UX.Microsoft.com, Video Breakdown, Physio Online, Web Translator, Whiteboard.Office.com, Windows Games, Apps and Websites published by Microsoft, Windows Movie Maker, Windows Photo Gallery, Windows Store, Windows Live Mail, Windows Live Writer, Workflow, Xbox Cloud Gaming, Xbox Game Pass, Xbox Game Studios Games, Apps and Websites, Xbox Live Gold, Xbox Live, Xbox Music, Xbox Store, Zio or Zo. Alright, let's go back and then where were I? Your privacy. Number 1. Your privacy is important to us. Please read the Microsoft Privacy Statement, and there's a link there. As it describes the types of data we collect from you and your devices or data, how we use your data, and the legal basis we have to process your data. The Privacy Statement also describes how Microsoft uses your content, which is your communication with others, postings submitted by you to Microsoft via the services, and the files, photos, documents, audio, digital works, live streams, and videos that you upload, store, broadcast, or share through the services. Your content, in brackets, where processing is based on consent and to the extent permitted by law. By agreeing to these terms, you consent to Microsoft's collection, use, and disclosure of your content and data as described in the Privacy Statement. In some cases, we will provide separate notice and request your consent as referenced in the Privacy Statement. Number 2, your content. Many of our services allow you to store or share your content or receive material from others. We don't claim ownership of your content. Your content remains your content and you are responsible for it. Your content remains your content and you are responsible for it. When you share your content with other people, you understand that they may be able to, on a worldwide basis, use, save, record, reproduce, broadcast, transmit, share, and display your content for the purpose that you made your content available on the services without compensating you. If you do not want others to have that ability, do not use the services to share your content. You represent and warrant that for the duration of these terms, you have and will have all the rights necessary for your content that is uploaded, stored, or shared on or through the services and that the collection, use, and retention of your content will not violate any law or rights of others. Microsoft cannot be held responsible for your content or the material others upload, store, or share using the services. B. To the extent necessary to provide the services to you and others to protect you and the services and to improve Microsoft products and services, you grant to Microsoft a worldwide and royalty-free intellectual property license to use your content, for example, to make copies of, retain, transmit, reformat, display, and distribute via communication tools your content on the services. If you publish your content in areas of the service where it is available broadly online without restrictions, your content may appear in demonstrations or materials that promote the service. Some of the services are supported by advertising. Controls for how Microsoft personalizes our advertising are available at, there's a link there, choice.live.com. There's another link in bracket, and I'm not going to mention the address. We do not use what you say in email, chat, video calls, or voicemail, or your documents, photos, or other personal files to target advertising to you. Our advertising policies are covered in detail in the privacy statement. Number 3. Code of Conduct. By agreeing to these terms, you are agreeing that when using services, you will follow these rules. 1. Don't do anything illegal. 2. Don't engage in any activity that exploits, harms, or threatens to harm children. 3. Don't send spam or engage in phishing. Spam is unwanted or unsolicited bulk email, postings, contact requests, SMS or text messages, instant messages, or similar electronic communications. Phishing is sending emails or other electronic communications to fraudulently or unlawfully induce recipients to reveal personal or sensitive information such as passwords, dates of birth, social security numbers, passport numbers, credit card information, or to gain access to accounts or records, exfiltration of documents or other insensitive information, payment and or financial benefit. 4. Don't publicly display or use the services to share inappropriate content or material, in brackets, involving, for example, nudity, bestiality, pornography, offensive language, graphic violence, or criminal activity. Number 5. Don't engage in activity that is fraudulent, false, or misleading, in brackets, for example, asking for money under false pretenses, impersonating someone else, manipulating the services to increase play count or affect rankings, ratings, or comments. 6. Don't circumvent any restriction on access to or availability of the services. 7. Don't engage in activity that is harmful to you, their services, or others. For example, transmitting viruses, stalking, posting terrorist or violent extremist content, communicating hate speech, or advocating violence against others. 8. Don't infringe upon the rights of others, for example, unauthorized sharing of copyrighted music or other copyrighted material, resale or other distribution of Bing maps or photographs. Number 9. Don't engage in activity that violates the privacy of others. Number 10. Don't help others break these rules. B. Enforcement. If you violate these terms, we may stop providing services to you, or we may close your Microsoft account. We may also block delivery of a communication like email, file sharing, or instant message to or from the services in an effort to enforce these terms, or we may remove or refuse to publish your content for any reason. When investigating alleged violations of these terms, Microsoft reserves the right to review your content in order to resolve the issue. However, we cannot monitor the entire services and make no attempt to do so. C. Application to Xbox Services. Click here and there's a link there for more information about how this code of conduct applies to all Xbox services, including Xbox Game Pass, games for Windows Live and Xbox Game Studio games, applications, services, and content provided by Microsoft. Violations of the Code of Conduct through Xbox services defined in Section 14AI may result in suspensions or bans from participation in Xbox services, including forfeiture of content licenses, Xbox Gold membership time, and Microsoft account balances associated with the account. Microsoft Start Community Guidelines. The Microsoft Start Community Guidelines, and there's a link there, govern registered user engagement with news and professionally generated content on that service. Violations of the Code of Conduct through the Microsoft Start Community Guidelines may result in suspensions or bans from community commenting or termination of Microsoft accounts. Using the services and support. Microsoft account. You'll need a Microsoft account to access many of the services. Your Microsoft account lets you sign in to products, websites, and services provided by Microsoft and some Microsoft partners. Creating an account. You can create a Microsoft account by signing up online. You agree not to use any false, inaccurate, or misleading information when signing up for your Microsoft account. In some cases, a third party, like your internet service provider, may have assigned a Microsoft account to you. If you received your Microsoft account from a third party, the third party may have additional rights over your account, like the ability to access or delete your Microsoft account. Please review any additional terms the third party provided you, as Microsoft has no responsibility regarding these additional terms. If you create a Microsoft account on behalf of an entity, such as your business or employer, you represent that you have the legal authority to bind that entity to these terms. You cannot transfer your Microsoft account credentials to another user or entity. To protect your account, keep your account details and password confidential. You are responsible for all activity that occurs under your Microsoft account. Next, account use. You must use your Microsoft account to keep it active. This means you must sign in at least once in a 2-year period to keep your Microsoft account and associated services active, unless a longer period is provided in the Microsoft Account Activity Policy at there's a link there, or in an offer for a paid portion of the services. If you don't sign in during this time, we will assume your Microsoft account is inactive and will close it for you. Please see Section 4A.4.2 for the consequences of a closed Microsoft account. You must sign into your Outlook.com inbox and your OneDrive separately at least once in a 1-year period. Otherwise, we will close your Outlook.com inbox and your OneDrive for you. If we reasonably suspect that your Microsoft account is at risk If we reasonably suspect that your Microsoft account is at risk of being used by a third party fraudulently, for example as a result of an account compromise, Microsoft may suspend your account until you can reclaim ownership. Based on the nature of the compromise, we may be required to disable access to some or all of your content. If you are having trouble accessing your Microsoft account, please visit this website, and there's a link there. Kits and accounts. By creating a Microsoft account or using the services, you accept and agree to be bound by these terms and represent that you have either reached the age of majority where you live, or your parents or legal guardian agrees to be bound by these terms on your behalf. If you do not know whether you have reached the age of majority where you live or do not understand this section, please ask your parent or legal guardian for help. If you are the parent or legal guardian of a minor, you and the minor accept and agree to be bound by these terms and are responsible for all use of the Microsoft account services, including purchases, whether the minor's account is now open or created later. For closing your account, number 1, you can cancel specific services or close your Microsoft account at any time and for any reason. To close your Microsoft account, please visit, there's a link there, account.live.com, closeaccount.aspx. When you ask us to close your Microsoft account, you can choose to put it in a suspended state for either 30 or 60 days just in case you change your mind. After that 30 or 60-day period, your Microsoft account will be closed. Please see section 4A42 below for an explanation as to what happens when your Microsoft account is closed. Logging back in during the suspension period will reactivate your Microsoft account. If your Microsoft account is closed, whether by you or us, a few things happen. First, your right to use the Microsoft account or access the services stops immediately. Second, will delete data or your content associated with your Microsoft account or will otherwise disassociate it from you and your Microsoft account unless we are required by law to keep it, return it, or transfer it to you or a third party identified by you. In brackets. You should have a regular backup plan as Microsoft won't be able to retrieve your content or data once your account is closed. Third, you may lose access to products you've acquired. Next, B. Work or school accounts. If you sign into certain Microsoft services with a work or school email address, if you do, you agree that the owner of the domain associated with your email address may be notified of the existence of your Microsoft account and its associated subscriptions, control and administer your account, and access and process your data, including the contents of your communications and files, and that Microsoft may notify the owner of the domain or if the account or data is compromised. You further agree that your use of the Microsoft services may be subject to the agreements Microsoft has with you or your organization, and these terms may not apply. If you already have a Microsoft account and you use a separate work or school email address to access the services, to access services covered under these terms, you may be prompted to update the email address associated with your Microsoft account in order to continue accessing such services. Additional equipment or data plans. To use many of the services, you'll need an internet connection and/or data or cellular plan. You might also need additional equipment like a headset, camera, or microphone. You are responsible for providing all connections, plans, and equipment needed to use the services and for paying the fees charged by the providers of your connections, plans, and equipment. Those fees are in addition to any fees you pay us for the services, and you will not reimburse you for such fees. And we will not reimburse you for such fees. Check with your providers to determine if there are any such fees that may apply to you. I think I should read this again. Additional equipment or data plans. To use many of the services, you'll need an internet connection and/or data or cellular plan. You might also need additional equipment like a headset, camera, or microphone. You are responsible for providing all connections, plans, and equipment needed to use the services and for paying the fees charged by the providers of your connections, plans, and equipment. Those fees are in addition to any fees you pay us for the services, and we will not reimburse you for such fees. Check with your providers to determine if there are any such fees that may apply to you. D. Service notification. When there's something we need to tell you about a service you use, we'll send you service notifications. If you give us your email address or phone number in connection with your Microsoft account, then we may send service notifications to you via email or via SMS. including to verify your identity before registering your mobile phone number and verifying your purchases. We may also send you service notifications by other means, for example, by in-product messages. Data or messaging rates may apply when receiving notifications via SMS. E. Support. Customer support for some services is available at, there's a link there, support.microsoft.com. Certain services may offer separate or additional customer support, subject to the terms available at, there's a link there, www.microsoft.com support service agreement, unless otherwise specified. Support may not be available for preview or beta versions of features or services. F. Ending your services. If your first services are cancelled, whether by you or by us, first, your right to access the services stops immediately and your license to the software related to the services ends. Second, will delete data or your content associated with your service or will otherwise dissociate it from you and your Microsoft account. In brackets, unless we are required by law to keep it, return it, or transfer it to you or a third party identified by you. Close bracket. As a result, you may no longer be able to access any of the services in bracket or your content that you've stored on those services, close brackets. You should have a regular backup plan. Third, you may lose access to products you've acquired. If you have canceled your Microsoft account and have no other account able to access the services, your services may be canceled immediately. Okay, now using third-party apps and services. Number 5. The services may allow you to access or acquire products, services, websites, links, content, material, games, skills, integrations, bots, or applications from independent third parties. In brackets, companies or people who aren't Microsoft. Close brackets and open brackets again, third-party apps and services, close brackets. Many of our services also help you find, make requests to, or interact with third-party apps and services, or allow you to share your content or data. And you understand that by using our services, you are directing them to make third-party apps and services available to you. The third-party apps and services may allow you to store your content or data with the publisher, provider, or operator of the third-party apps and services. The third-party apps and services may present you with a privacy policy or require you to accept their terms before you can install or use the third-party app or service. See Section 14b for additional terms for applications acquired through certain stores owned or operated by Microsoft or its affiliates. Open bracket, including but not limited to the Office Store, the Microsoft Store on Xbox, and the Microsoft Store on Windows, close bracket. You should review the third-party terms and privacy policies before acquiring, using, requesting, or linking your Microsoft account to any third-party apps and services. Any third-party terms do not modify any of these terms. You are responsible for your dealings with third parties. Microsoft does not license any intellectual property to you as part of any third-party apps and services and is not responsible or liable to you or others for information or services provided by any third-party apps and services. Okay, now service availability. The services, third-party apps and services, or materials or products offered through the services may be unavailable from time to time, may be offered for a limited time, or may vary depending on your region or device. If you change the location associated with your Microsoft account, you may need to reacquire the material or applications that were available to you and paid for in your previous region. We strive to keep the services up and running. However, all online services suffer occasional disruptions and outages, and Microsoft is not liable for any disruption or loss you may suffer as a result. In the event of an outage, you may not be able to retrieve your content or data that you've stored. We recommend that you regularly back up your content and data that you store on the services or store using third-party apps and services. Updates to the service or software and changes to these terms. 7. Updates to the services or software and changes to these terms. A. We may change these terms at any time and will tell you when we do. Using the services after the changes become effective means you agree to the new terms. If you don't agree to the new terms, you must stop using the services, close your Microsoft account, and if you are a parent or guardian, help your minor child close his or her Microsoft account. B. Sometimes you'll need software updates to keep using the services. We may automatically check your version of the software and download software updates or configuration changes. You may also be required to update the software to continue using the services. Such updates are subject to these terms unless other terms accompany the updates, in which case those terms apply. Microsoft isn't obligated to make any updates available, and we don't guarantee that we will support the version of the system or device for which you purchased or licensed the software, apps, content, or other products. Additionally, this is C. Additionally, there may be times when we need to remove or change features or functionality of the service or stop providing a service or our access to third-party apps and services altogether. Excuse me guys, let me repeat that again. C. Additionally, there may be times when we need to remove or change features or functionality of the service or stop providing a service or access to third-party apps and services altogether. Except to the extent required by applicable law, we have no obligation to provide the re-download or replacement of any material, digital goods defined in Section 14, or applications previously purchased. We may release the services or their features in a preview or beta version which may not work correctly or in the same way the final version may work. D. So that you can use material protected with digital rights management or DRM, like some music, games, movies, books, and more, DRM software may automatically contact an online rights server and download and install DRM updates. Next, software license. 8. Software license. Unless accompanied by a separate Microsoft license agreement, in bracket, for example, if you are using a Microsoft application that is included with and a part of Windows, then the Microsoft software license terms for the Windows operating system govern such software, close brackets. Any software provided by us to you as part of the services is subject to these terms. Okay, this Microsoft Service Agreement, excuse me. Applications acquired through certain stores owned or operated by Microsoft or its affiliates, including but not limited to the Office Store, Microsoft Store on Windows, and Microsoft Store on Xbox, are subject to the Section 14b(1) below. A. If you comply with these terms, we grant you the right to install and use one copy of the software per device on a worldwide basis for use by only one person at a time as part of your use of the services. For certain devices, such software may be pre-installed for your personal, non-commercial use of the services. The software or website that is part of the services may include third-party code. Any third-party scripts or code linked to or reference from the software or website are licensed to you by the third parties that own such code, not by Microsoft. Notices, if any, for the third-party code are included for your information only. B. Software is licensed, not sold. The Microsoft reserves all rights to the software not expressly granted by Microsoft, whether by implication, estoppel, or otherwise. This license does not give you any right to, and you may not 1. Circumvent or bypass any technological protection measures circumvent or bypass any technological protection measures in or relating to the software or services. 2. Disassemble, decompile, decrypt, hack, emulate, exploit, or reverse engineer any software or other aspect of the services that is included in or accessible through the services, except and only to the extent that the applicable copyright law expressly permits doing so. 3. Separate components of the software or services for use on different devices. Separate components of the software or services for use on different devices. 4. Publish, copy, rent, lease, sell, export, import, distribute, or lend the software or the services unless Microsoft expressly authorizes you to do so. 5. Transfer the software, any software license, or any rights to access or use the services. 6. Use of the services in any unauthorized way that could interfere with anyone else's use of them or gain access to any service, data, account, or network. 7. Enable access to the services or modify any Microsoft authorized device, for example Xbox consoles, Microsoft Surface, etc., by unauthorized third-party application. Now, payment terms. If you purchase a service, then these payment terms apply to your purchase and you agree to them. Charges. If there is a charge associated with a portion of the services, you agree to pay that charge. The price stated for the services excludes all applicable taxes and currency exchange settlements unless stated otherwise. The price for Skype paid products includes a charge for the product and a charge for taxes. You are solely responsible for paying such taxes or other charges. Taxes are calculated based on your location at the time your Microsoft account was registered. We may suspend or cancel the services if we do not receive on-time full payment from you. If we do not receive an on-time full payment from you. Suspension or cancellation of the services for non-payment could result in a loss of access to and use of your account and its content. Connecting to the internet via a corporate or other private network that masks your location may cause changes to be different from those displayed for your actual location. May cause charges, not changes, may cause charges to be different from those displayed for your actual location. Your billing account. To pay the charges for a service, you will be asked to provide a payment method at the time you sign up for that service. You can access and change your billing information and payment method on the Microsoft Account Management website, and there's a link here. And for Skype, by signing into your account portal at skype.com/go/myaccount. There's a link there. Additionally, you agree to permit Microsoft to use any updated account information regarding your selected payment method provided by your issuing bank or the applicable payment network. You agree to promptly update your account and other information, including your email address and payment method details, so we can complete your transactions and can contact you as needed in connection with your transactions. Changes made to your billing account will not affect changes we submit to your billing account before we could reasonably act on your changes to your billing account. Changes made to your billing account will not affect charges. Will not affect charges we submit to your billing account before we could reasonably act on your changes to your billing account. Billing. By providing Microsoft with a payment method, you represent that you are authorized to use the payment method you provided and that any payment information you provide is true and accurate. To authorize Microsoft to charge you for the services or available content using your payment method. 3. Authorize Microsoft to charge you for any paid feature of the services you choose to sign up for or use while these terms are in force. We may bill you A. in advance, B. at the time of purchase, C. shortly after purchase, or D. on a recurring basis for subscription services. So this is by providing Microsoft by a payment method, you, one, represent that you are authorized to use the payment method, etc., etc. Okay, continuing on. Also, we may charge you up to the amount you have approved, and we will notify you in advance of any change in the amount to be charged for recurring subscription services. We may bill you at the same time for more than one of your prior billing periods for amounts that haven't previously been processed. The recurring payments. When you purchase the services on a subscription basis, monthly, every 3 months, or annually, you agree that you are authorizing recurring payments, and payments will be made to Microsoft by the method and at the recurring intervals you have agreed to until the subscription for that service is terminated by you or by Microsoft. You must cancel your services before the next billing date to stop being charged to continue your services. We will provide you with instruction on how you may cancel the services. By authorizing recurring payments, you are authorizing Microsoft to store your payment instrument and process such payments as either electronic debits or fund transfers, or as electronic drafts from your designated account. Open bracket, for automated clearinghouse or similar payments, close bracket, or as charges to your designated account. Okay, wait a minute guys, let me repeat this part. By authorizing recurring payments, you are authorizing Microsoft to store your payment instrument and process such payments as either electronic debits or fund transfers, or as electronic drafts from your designated account for automated clearinghouse or similar payments, or as charges to your designated account for credit card or similar payments. Collectively, electronic payments. Subscription fees are generally charged in advance of the applicable subscription period. If any payment is returned unpaid, or if any credit card or similar transaction is rejected or denied, Microsoft or its service provider reserve the right to collect any applicable return item, rejection or insufficient funds fee, and process any such payment as an electronic payment. Online statement and errors. Microsoft will provide you with an online billing statement on the Microsoft Account Management website, and there's a link there where you can view and print your statement. For Skype, you can access your online statement by signing into your account at www.skype.com. There's a link there. This is the only billing statement that we provide. If we make an error on your bill, you must tell us within 90 days after the error first appears on your bill. We will then promptly investigate the charge. If you do not tell us within the time, you release us from all liability and claims of loss resulting from the error, and we won't be required to correct the error or provide a refund. If Microsoft has identified a billing error, we will correct that error within 90 days. F. Refund policy. Unless otherwise provided by law or by a particular service offer, all purchases are final and non-refundable. If you believe that Microsoft has charged you in error, you must contact us within 90 days of such charge. No refunds will be given for any charges more than 90 days old. We reserve the right to issue refunds or credits at our sole discretion. If we issue a refund or credit, we are under no obligation to issue the same or similar refund in the future. This refund policy does not affect any statutory rights that may apply. For more refund information, please visit our help topic, and there's a link there. G. Canceling the services. You may cancel a service at any time with or without cause. Canceling paid services stops future charges to continue the service. To cancel a service and request a refund if you are entitled to one, visit the Microsoft Account Management website. You can request a refund from Skype using the cancellation and refund form. And there's a link there. You should refer back to the offer describing the services as 1. You may not receive a refund at the time of cancellation. 2. You may be obligated to pay cancellation charges. 3. You may be obligated to pay all charges made to your billing account for the services before the date of cancellation. And 4. You may lose access to and use of your account when you cancel the services. We will process your data as described above in section 4. If you cancel your services to the services ends at the end of your current service period, or if we bill your account on a periodic basis at the end of the period in which you cancel. If you cancel, your access to services ends at the end of your current service period, or if we bill your account on a periodic basis at the end of the period in which you cancel. Your access to services ends at the end of your current service period, or if we bill your account on a periodic basis. At the end of the period in okay. One more try, guys. If you cancel, your access to services ends at the end of your current service period. Or in the case of, this is just my words, in the case of, if we bill your account on a periodic basis at the end of the period in which you cancel. If you initiate a chargeback or reversal with your bank for your payment of services, we will deem you to have canceled as of the date that the original payment was made, and you authorize us to immediately cancel your service and or revoke any content that was provided to you in exchange for such payment. H. Trial period offers. If you are taking part in any trial period offer, you may be required to cancel the trial services within the time frame communicated to you when you accepted the offer in order to avoid being charged to continue the services at the end of the trial period. I. Promotional offers. From time to time, Microsoft may offer services for a trial period during which Microsoft will not charge you for the services. Microsoft reserves the right to charge you for such services at the normal rate. If Microsoft determines in its reasonable discretion that you are breaching the terms and conditions of the offer. J. Price changes. You may change the price of the services at any time, and if you have a recurring purchase, we will notify you by email or other reasonable manner at least 15 days before the price change. If you do not agree to the price change, you must cancel and stop using the services before the price change takes effect. If there is a fixed term and price for your service offer, that price will remain in force for the fixed term. K. Payments to you. If we owe you a payment, then you agree to timely and accurately provide us with any information we need to get that payment to you. You are responsible for any taxes and charges you may incur as a result of this payment to you. You must also comply with any other conditions we place on your right to any payment. If you receive a payment in error, we may reverse or require return of the payment. You agree to cooperate with us in our efforts to do this. We may reduce the payment to you without notice to adjust for any previous overpayment. IKLL Gift cards. Redemption and use of gift cards other than Skype gift cards are governed by the Microsoft gift card terms and conditions, and there's a link there. Information on Skype gift cards is available on Skype help page, and there's a link there. M. Bank account payment method. You may register an eligible bank account with your Microsoft account to use it as a payment method. Eligible bank accounts include accounts held at a financial institution capable of receiving direct debit entries. For example, a United States-based financial institution that support automated clearinghouse or ACH entries, a European financial institution that supports Single Euro Payments Area or SEPA, or Ideal in the Netherlands. Terms you agreed to when adding your bank account as a payment method in your Microsoft account, for example, the mandate in the case of SEPA, also apply. You represent and warrant that your registered bank account is held in your name, or you are authorized to register and use this bank account as a payment method. By registering or selecting your bank account as your payment method, you authorize Microsoft or its agent to initiate one or more debits for the total amount of your purchase or subscription charge. In brackets, in accordance with the terms of your subscription service. From your bank account. What? It's not over yet. Let me repeat that. Excuse me. By registering or selecting your bank account as your payment method, you authorize Microsoft or its agent to initiate one or more debits for the total amount of your purchase or subscription charge. In brackets, about these debits, in accordance with the terms of your subscription service, from your bank account, close brackets, from your bank account, open brackets, and if necessary, initiate one or more credits to your bank account to correct errors, issue a refund or similar purpose, close brackets, and you authorize the financial institution that holds your bank account to deduct such debits or accept such credits. Let me read that again without the in bracket part. By registering or selecting your bank account as your payment method, you authorize Microsoft to initiate one or more debits for your total amount of your purchase or subscription charge from your bank account, and you authorize the financial institution that holds your bank account to deduct such debits or accept such credits. You understand that this authorization will remain in full force and effect until you remove your bank account information from your Microsoft account. Contact customer support as outlined above in Section 4E as soon as possible if you believe you have been charged in error. Laws applicable in your country may also limit your liability for any fraudulent, erroneous, or unauthorized transactions from your bank account. By registering or selecting a bank account as your payment method, you acknowledge that you have read, understand, and agree to these terms. You have read, understand, and agree to these terms. Contracting entity, choice of law, jurisdiction. 10. Contracting entity. For use of free and paid consumer Skype branded services you are contracting with, and all references to Microsoft in these terms mean Skype Communication SARL 2329 Raves de Clausen L 2165 Luxembourg. For all other services you are contracting with Microsoft Corporation, 1 Microsoft Way, Redmond, Washington, WA 98052 USA. Number 11. Choice of law and place to resolve disputes. If you live in, or if a business, your principal place of business is in, the United States, and laws of the state where you live, or if a business where your principal place of business is located, govern all claims regardless of conflict of laws principles, except that the Federal Arbitration Act governs all provisions relating to arbitration. You and we irrevocably consent to the exclusive jurisdiction and venue of the state or federal courts in King County, Washington, for all disputes arising out of or relating to these terms of the services that are not heard in arbitration or small claims court. Now let me read that last part again. For all disputes arising out of or relating to these terms or the services that are not heard in arbitration or small claims court. You and we irrevocably consent to the exclusive jurisdiction and venue of the state or federal courts in King County, Washington, for all disputes arising out of or relating to these terms or the services that are not heard in arbitration or small claims court. Next, warranties. Microsoft and our affiliates, resellers, distributors, and vendors make no warranties, express or implied, guarantees, or conditions with respect to your use of the services. You understand that use of the services is at your own risk and that we provide the services on an as-is basis with all faults and as available. You bear the entire risk of using the services. Microsoft doesn't guarantee the accuracy or timeliness of the services to the extent permitted under your local law. We exclude any implied warranties, including for merchantability, satisfactory quality, fitness for a particular purpose, workmanlike effort, and non-infringement. You may have certain rights under your local law. Nothing in these terms is intended to affect those rights, if they are applicable. You acknowledge that computer and telecommunication systems are not fault-free, and occasional periods of downtime occur. If we do not guarantee the services will be not if. Why did I say if? We do not guarantee the services will be uninterrupted, timely, secure, or error-free, or that content loss won't occur, nor do we guarantee any connection to or transmission from the computer networks. Again, guys, we do not guarantee the services will be uninterrupted, timely, secure, or error-free, or that content loss won't occur, nor do we guarantee any connection to or transmission from the computer networks. Nor do we guarantee any connection to or transmission nor do we guarantee any connection to or transmission from the computer networks. Limitation of liability. If you have any basis for recovering damages, including breach of these terms, you agree that your exclusive remedy is to recover from Microsoft or any affiliates, resellers, distributor, third-party apps, and service providers and vendors direct damages up to an amount equal to your services fee for the month during which the loss or breach occurred, or up to $10 if the services are free. You can't recover any other damages or losses, including direct, consequential, lost profits, special, indirect, incidental, or punitive. These limitations and exclusions apply even if this remedy doesn't fully compensate you for any losses or fails of its essential purpose. These limitations and exclusions apply even if this remedy doesn't fully compensate you for any losses or fails of its essential purpose, or if we knew or should have known about the possibility of the damages to the maximum extent permitted by law. These limitations and exclusions apply to anything or any claims related to these terms and the services or the software related to the services. Service-specific terms. The terms before and after Section 14 apply generally to all services. This section contains service-specific terms that are in addition to the general terms. These service-specific terms govern if there are any conflicts with the general terms. Xbox. Personal, non-commercial use. The Xbox Online Service, Xbox Game Studio games, including Mojang games, and there's a link there. Applications, subscriptions, for example, Xbox Game Pass, subscription service offerings. Services, for example, Xbox Cloud Gaming, and content provided by Microsoft, collectively the Xbox services, are only for your personal non-commercial use. Xbox services. When you sign up to receive Xbox services, information about your gameplay, activities, and usage of games and Xbox services will be tracked and shared with applicable third parties, including game developers, in order for Microsoft to deliver the Xbox services and for the third parties to operate non-Microsoft games and services. If you choose to link your Microsoft Xbox Services account with your account on a non-Microsoft service, or sign into your Xbox Services account to access a non-Microsoft service, for example, a non-Microsoft game publisher or third-party apps and services, you agree that Microsoft may share limited account and usage-related information, including without limitation gamer tag, gamer score, game history usage data, and friends list, with that non-Microsoft party as stated in the Microsoft privacy statement. And B, if allowed by your Xbox privacy settings, the non-Microsoft party may also have access to your content from an in-game, from in-game communication or other applications that you use when you are signed into your account. Excuse me. With that non-Microsoft party. Also, if allowed by your Xbox privacy settings, Microsoft can publish your name, gamer tag, gamer pic, motto, avatar, game clips, and games that you've played in communications to people you allow. Ooh. 3. Your content. As part of building the Xbox services community, you grant to Microsoft, its affiliates, and sub-licensees a free and worldwide right to use, modify, reproduce, distribute, broadcast, share, and display your content or your name, gamer tag, motto, or avatar that you posted for any Xbox services. 4. Game managers. Some games may use game managers, ambassadors, or hosts. Game managers and hosts are not authorized Microsoft spokespersons. Their views do not necessarily reflect those of Microsoft. Number 5. Kids on Xbox. If you are a minor using an Xbox services, your parent or guardian may have control over many aspects of your account and may receive reports about your use of the Xbox services. Number 6. Game currency or virtual goods. The Xbox services may include a virtual game currency, like gold, coins, or points, that may be purchased from or on behalf of Microsoft using actual monetary instruments if you have reached the age of majority where you live. The Xbox services may also include virtual digital items or goods that may be purchased from or on behalf of Microsoft using actual monetary instruments or using game currency. Game currency and virtual goods may never be redeemed for actual monetary instruments, goods, or other items or monetary value from Microsoft or any other party, other than a limited, personal, revocable, non-transferable, non-sub-licensable license to use the game currency and virtual goods in the Xbox services only. You have no right or title in, or to any such game currency, or virtual goods appearing or originating in the Xbox services, or any other attributes associated with use of the services or stored within the Xbox services. Microsoft may at any time regulate, control, modify, and or eliminate the game currency and or virtual goods associated with any one or more Xbox games or apps as it sees fit in its sole discretion. Number 7. Software updates. For any device that can connect to Xbox services, we may automatically check your version of Xbox console software or the Xbox app software and download Xbox console or Xbox app software updates or configuration changes, including those that prevent you from accessing the Xbox services using unauthorized Xbox games or Xbox apps, or using unauthorized hardware peripheral devices with an Xbox console. Number 8, cheating and tampering software. For any device that can connect to Xbox services, we may automatically check your device for unauthorized hardware or software that enables cheating or tampering in violation of the Code of Conduct or these terms, and download Xbox app software updates or configuration changes, including those that prevent you from accessing the Xbox services or from using unauthorized hardware or software that enables cheating or tampering. Number 9, additional subscription terms and conditions. Xbox Service subscriptions are subject to additional terms and conditions set forth in the Xbox subscription terms and conditions. Xbox, and there's a link there. And number 10, inactive Xbox Service subscription. Microsoft may turn off your recurring billing and stop recurring charges in select countries if you do not use your Xbox Services subscription for a period of time. Microsoft will provide notice to you before turning off recurring billing. For more information, including the applicable period of inactivity, see Subscription Inactivity Frequently Asked Question, Xbox Support, and there's a link there. Next, Store. Store refers to a service that allows you to browse, download, purchase, and rate and review applications. Open bracket, the term application includes games, close bracket, and other digital content. These terms cover use of certain stores owned or operated by Microsoft or its affiliates, including but not limited to the Office Store, Microsoft Store on Xbox, and Microsoft Store on Windows. Office Store means a store for Office products and apps for Office, Microsoft 365, SharePoint, Exchange Access, and Project 2013 versions or later. And Project is its own, or any other experience that is branded Office Store. Microsoft Store on Windows means a store owned and operated by Microsoft or its affiliates. For Windows devices such as phone, PC, and tablet, or any other experience that is branded Microsoft Store and accessible on Windows devices such as phone, PC, or tablet. Microsoft Store on Xbox means a store owned and operated by Microsoft or its affiliates and made available on Xbox consoles, or any other experience that is branded Microsoft Store and made available on an Xbox console. 1. License terms. We will identify the publisher of each application available in the relevant store. Unless different license terms are provided with the application, the Standard Application License Terms, or SALT, at the end of these terms are an agreement between you and the application publisher setting forth the license terms that apply to an application you download through any store owned or operated by Microsoft or its affiliates, excluding the Office Store. For clarity, these terms cover the use of and services provided by Microsoft services. Section 5 of these terms also applies to any third-party apps and services acquired through a store. Applications downloaded through the Office Store are not governed by the SALT and have separate license terms that apply. Number 2, updates. Microsoft will automatically check for and download updates to your applications even if you are not signed into the relevant store. You can change your store or system settings if you prefer not to receive automatic updates to store applications. However, certain Office Store applications that are entirely or partly hosted online may be updated at any time by the application developer and may not require your permission to update. Number 3, ratings and reviews. If you rate or review an application or other digital good in the store, you may receive email from Microsoft containing content from the publisher of the application or digital good. Any such email comes from Microsoft. We do not share your email address with publishers of applications or other digital goods you acquire through the store. Number 4, safety warning. To avoid possible injury, discomfort, or eye strain, you must take periodic breaks from use of games or other applications. especially if you feel any pain or fatigue resulting from the usage. If you experience discomfort, take a break. Discomfort might include feelings of nausea, motion sickness, dizziness, disorientation, headache, fatigue, eye strain, or dry eyes. Using applications can distract you and obstruct your surroundings. Avoid trip hazards, stairs, low ceilings, fragile or fallible items that could be damaged. A very small percentage of people may experience seizures when exposed to certain visual images like flashing lights or patterns that may appear in applications. Even people with no history of seizures may have an undiagnosed condition that can cause these seizures. Symptoms may include lightheadedness, altered vision, twitching, jerking, or shaking of limbs, disorientation, confusion, loss of consciousness, or convulsions. Immediately stop using and consult a doctor if you experience any of these symptoms, or consult a doctor before using the applications if you've ever suffered symptoms linked to seizures. Parents should monitor their children's use of applications for signs of symptoms. Let us read the SALT while we are at the context, right? Standard application license terms for applications offered in the United States. Microsoft Store on Windows, and Microsoft Store on Xbox. These license terms are an agreement between you and the application publisher. Please read them. They apply to the software applications you download from the Microsoft Store, the Microsoft Store on Windows, or the Microsoft Store on Xbox, each of which is referred to in these license terms as the store, including any updates or supplements for the application, unless the application comes with separate terms, in which case those terms apply. By downloading or using the application or attempting to do any of these, you accept these terms. If you do not accept them, you have no right to and must not download or use the application. The application publisher means the entity licensing the application to you, as identified in the store. If you comply with these license terms, you have the rights below. 1. Installation and use rights. Expiration. You may install and use the application on Windows devices or Xbox consoles as described in Microsoft's usage rules. There's a link there. Microsoft reserves the right to modify Microsoft's usage rules, and there's a link there, at any time. Internet-based services. A. Consent for internet-based or wireless services. If the application connects to computer systems over the internet, which may include via a wireless network, using the application operates as your consent to the transmission or standard device information, including but not limited to technical information about your device, system, and application software and peripherals. For internet-based or wireless services, okay, let me read that without the in bracket part. If the application connects to computer system over the internet, which may include a wireless network, using the application operates as your consent to the transmission of standard device information. For internet-based or wireless services, your consent to the transmission of standard device information for internet-based or wireless services. If other terms are presented in connection with your use of services accessed using the application, those terms also apply. B. Misuse of internet-based services. You may not use any internet-based service in any way that could harm it or impair anyone else's use of it or the wireless network. You may not use the service to try to gain unauthorized access to any service, data, account, or network by any means. Number 3, scope of license. The application is licensed, not sold. This agreement only gives you some rights to use the application. If Microsoft disables the ability to use the applications on your devices pursuant to your agreement with Microsoft, any associated license rights will terminate. The application publisher reserves all other rights. Unless applicable law gives you more rights despite this limitation, you may use the application only as expressly permitted in this agreement. In doing so, you must comply with any technical limitations in the application that only allow you to use it in certain ways. You must not A. Work around any technical limitation in the application. B. Reverse engineer, decompile, or disassemble the application except and only to the extent that applicable law expressly permits, despite this limitation. C. Make more copies of the application than specified in this agreement or allowed by applicable law, despite this limitation. D. Publish or otherwise make the application available for others to copy. E. Rent, lease, or lend the application. F. Transfer the application or this agreement to any third party. Number 4. Documentation. If documentation is provided with the application, you may copy and use the documentation for personal reference purposes. Number 5. Technology and export restriction. The application may be subject to United States or international technology control or export laws and regulations. You must comply with all domestic and international export laws and regulations that apply to the technology used or supported by the application. These laws include restriction on destinations, end users, and end use. For information on Microsoft branded products, go to the Microsoft exporting website and there's a link there. Number 6. Support services. Contact the application publisher to determine if any support services are available. Microsoft, your hardware manufacturer, and your wireless carrier, unless one of them is the application publisher, aren't responsible for providing support services for the application. 7. Entire agreement. This agreement, any applicable privacy policy, any additional terms that accompany the application, and the terms for supplements and updates are the entire license agreement between you and application publisher for the application. Applicable law. United States and Canada. If you acquired the application in the United States or Canada, the laws of the state or province where you live, open bracket, or if a business where your principal place of business is located, close bracket, govern the interpretation of these terms, claims for breach of them, and all other claims, including consumer protection, unfair competition, and tort claims, regardless of conflict of laws principles. B. Outside the United States and Canada, if you acquired the application in any other country, the laws of that country apply. 9. Legal effect. This agreement describes certain legal rights. You may have other rights under the laws of your state or country. This agreement doesn't change your rights under the laws of your state or country if the laws of your state or country don't permit it to do so. Number 10. Disclaimer or warranty. The application is licensed as is with all faults, and as available, you bear the entire risk as to its quality, safety, comfort, and performance. Should it prove defective, you assume the entire cost of all necessary servicing or repair. The application publisher, on behalf of itself, Microsoft, wireless carriers over whose network the application is provided, and each of our respective affiliates, vendors, agents, and suppliers or covered parties, gives no express warranties, guarantees, or condition in relation to the application. You may have additional consumer rights under your local laws that this agreement can't change. To the extent permitted under your local laws, covered parties exclude any implied warranties or conditions, including those of merchantability, fitness for a particular purpose, safety, comfort, and non-infringement. If your local laws impose a warranty, guarantee, or condition, even though these terms do not, its duration is limited to 90 days from when you download the application. Number 11. Limitation and exclusion of remedies and damages. To the extent not prohibited by law, if you have any basis for recovering damages, you can recover from the application publisher only direct damages up to the amount you paid for the application or $1, whichever is greater. You will not and waive any right to seek to recover any other damages. So you will not and you waive any right to seek to recover any other damages, including lost profits and consequential, special, direct, indirect, or incidental damages from the application publisher. This limitation applies to anything related to the application or services made available through the application, and claims for breach of contract, warranty, guarantee, or condition, strict liability, negligence, or other tort, violation of a statute or regulation, unjust enrichment, or under any other theory, all to the extent permitted by applicable law. It also applies even if this remedy doesn't fully compensate you for any losses, or the application publisher knew or should have known about the possibility of the damages. Alright, back to store. That's it. We continue on to Microsoft Family Features. Microsoft Family Features. Parents and kids can use Microsoft Family Features, including Microsoft Family Safety, to build trust based on a shared understanding of what behaviors, websites, apps, games, physical locations, and spending is right in their family. Parents can create a family by going to, there's a link there, https account.microsoft.com/family, or by following the instructions on their Windows device or Xbox console, and inviting kids or other parents to join. There are many features available to family members, so please carefully review the information provided when you agree to create or join a family and when you purchase digital goods for family access. By creating or joining a family, you agree to use the family in accordance with its purpose and won't use it in an unauthorized way to unlawfully gain access to another person's information. Group messaging. Various Microsoft services allow you to send messages to other via voice or SMS or messages, and or allow Microsoft and Microsoft-controlled affiliates to send such messages to you and one or more other users on your behalf. When you instruct Microsoft and Microsoft-controlled affiliates to send such messages to you or others, you represent and warrant to us that you and each person you have instructed us to message consent to receive such messages and any other related administrative text messages from Microsoft and Microsoft-controlled affiliates. Administrative text messages are periodic transactional messages from a particular Microsoft service, including but not limited to a welcome message or instructions on how to stop receiving messages. Excuse me, guys. You or group members no longer wishing to receive such messages can opt out of receiving further messages from Microsoft or Microsoft-controlled affiliates at any time by following the instruction provided. If you no longer wish to receive such messages or participate in the group, you agree that you will opt out through the instructions provided by the applicable program or service. If you have reason to believe that a group member or no longer wishes to receive such messages or participate in the group, you agree to remove them from the group. You also represent and warrant to us that you and each person you have instructed us to message understands that each group member is responsible for the cost of any message charges assessed by his or her mobile carrier, including any international message charges that may apply when messages are transmitted from US-based numbers. Skype, Microsoft Teams, and GroupMe. Skype, Microsoft Teams, and GroupMe. Emergency services. There are important differences between traditional mobile or fixed-line telephone services and Skype, Microsoft Teams, and GroupMe. Microsoft has limited obligations under applicable local or national rules, regulations, or law to offer access to emergency services such as 911 or 112 emergency calling or emergency services through Skype, Microsoft Teams, and GroupMe. Only limited software version of the Skype to phone feature of Skype may support calls to emergency services in a very limited number of countries and depending on the platform used. You can find details about availability and how to configure this feature here. www.skype.com/go-emergency, and there's a link there. If your Skype to phone emergency call is connected, you will need to provide the details of your physical location to enable the emergency services to respond to you. 3. APIs or broadcasting. If you want to use Skype in connection with any broadcast, you must comply with the broadcast terms of service there's a link there. If you want to use any application program interface or API exposed or made available by Skype, you must comply with the applicable licensing terms, which are available at skype.com/go-legal. There's a link there. Number 4, fair use policies. Fair usage policies may apply to your use of Skype. Please review these policies, which are designed to protect against fraud and abuse and may place limits on the type, duration, or volume of calls or messages that you are able to make. These policies are incorporated in these terms by reference. You can find these policies at www.skype.com/legal fair usage, and there's a link there. Number 5, mapping. Skype contains features that allow you to submit information to or plot yourself on a map using a mapping service. By using those features, you agree to these terms and the Google Maps terms available and there's a link there. Number 6, personal or non-commercial use. The use of Skype is for your personal and non-commercial use. You are permitted to use Skype at work for your own business communications. Number 7, Skype Skype to go. If Skype provides you with a Skype number or Skype to go number, you agree that you do not own the number or have a right to retain that number forever. For more details on Skype number, see secure.skype.com/Skype number, and there's a link there. Skype Manager. Number 7. A Skype Manager admin account is created and managed by you, acting as an individual administrator of a Skype Manager group, and not as business entity. You may link your individual Microsoft account to a Skype Manager group or linked account. You may appoint additional administrators to your Skype Manager group subject to their acceptance of these terms. If you allocate Skype numbers to a linked account, you are responsible for compliance with any requirements related to the residency or location of your linked account users. If you choose to unlink a linked account from a Skype Manager group, any allocated subscriptions, Skype Credit, or Skype numbers will not be retrievable, and your content or material associated with the unlinked account will no longer be accessible by you. You agree to process any personal information of your linked account users in accordance with all applicable data protection laws. Number 9, Skype charges. Skype paid products are sold to you by Skype Communication SARL. However, the seller of record accountable for taxes is Skype Communications US Corporation. Taxes means the amount of taxes, regulatory fees, surcharges, or other fees that we are required to collect from you and must pay to any United States, federal, state, or local, or foreign government agency, commission, or quasi-governmental body as a result of our provision of Skype paid products to you. Commission or quasi-governmental body as a result of our provision of Skype paid products to you. These taxes are listed at www.skype.com/go/US tax. Let me repeat that, excuse me. Skype paid products are sold to you by Skype Communications SRL. However, the seller of record accountable for taxes is Skype Communications US Corporation. Taxes means the amount of taxes, regulatory fees, surcharges, or other fees that we are required to collect from you and must pay to any United States, federal, state, or local, or foreign government agency, commission, or quasi-governmental body as a result of our provision of Skype paid products to you. These taxes are listed at, there's a link there, www.skype.com/go/US tax. All prices for Skype paid products are inclusive of a charge for your product and a charge for taxes, unless otherwise stated. The charges payable for calling phones outside of a subscription consists of a connection fee or charge once per call, and a per minute rate as set out at www.skype.com/go/all-rates, and there's a link there. Call charges will be deducted from your Skype credit balance. Skype may change its calling rates at any time by posting such change at www.skype.com/go/all-rates, and there's a link there. The new rate will apply to your next call after publication of the new rates. Please check the latest rates before you make your call. Fractional call minutes and fractional cent charges will be rounded up to the next whole unit. Notwithstanding the foregoing, you may be entitled under applicable law to a refund upon request of any prepaid subscription balance in the event you switch your Skype number to another provider. Number 10, Skype Credit. Skype does not guarantee that you will be able to use your Skype credit balance to purchase all Skype paid products. If you do not use Skype credit for a period of 180 days, Skype will place your Skype credit on inactive status. You can reactivate the Skype credit by following the reactivation link at, there's a link there. You can enable the auto recharge feature when you buy Skype credit by ticking the appropriate box. If enabled, your Skype credit balance will be recharged with the same amount and by your chosen payment method every time your Skype balance goes below the threshold set by Skype from time to time. If you purchased a subscription with a payment method other than credit card, PayPal, or Moneybookers or Skrill, and you have enabled auto recharge, your Skype credit balance will be recharged with the amount necessary to purchase your next recurring subscription. You can disable auto recharge at any time by accessing and changing your settings in your account portal in Skype. If your Microsoft account is closed for any reason, any unused Skype credit associated with your Microsoft account will be lost and cannot be retrieved. Number 9, International Message Fees. GroupMe currently uses US-based numbers for each group created. GroupMe currently uses US-based numbers for each group created. Every text message sent to or received from a GroupMe number will count as an international text message sent to or received from the United States. Depending upon your location, Microsoft Teams may be using a phone number that could count as an international text message. Please check with your provider for the associated international rates. That was Skype, Microsoft Teams, and GroupMe service-specific terms. Bing and MSN. Bing and Microsoft Start, including MSN. Bing and Microsoft Start materials. Let me repeat that, excuse me. Bing and Microsoft Start, including MSN. Number 1, Bing and Microsoft Start materials. The articles, text, photos, maps, videos, video players, and third-party material available on Bing and Microsoft Start, including through Microsoft bots, applications, and programs, are for your non-commercial personal use only. Other uses, including downloading, copying, or redistributing these materials, or using these materials or products to build your own products, are permitted only to the extent specifically authorized by Microsoft or rights holders, or allowed by applicable copyright law. Microsoft or other rights holders reserve all rights to the material not expressly granted by Microsoft under the license terms, whether by implication, estoppel, or otherwise. Number 2, Bing Maps. You may not use bird's eye imagery of the United States, Canada, Mexico, New Zealand, Australia, or Japan for governmental use without our separate written approval. Bing Places. Number 3. When you provide your data or your content to Bing Places, you grant Microsoft a worldwide royalty-free intellectual property license to use, reproduce, save, modify, aggregate, promote, transmit, display, or distribute as part of a service and sub-license those rights to third parties. So that was Bing and MSN service-specific terms. Next, Cortana. Cortana, personal non-commercial use. Cortana is a Microsoft's personal assistant service. The features, service, and content provided by Cortana, collectively Cortana services, are only for your personal and non-commercial use. 2. Functionality and content. Cortana provides a range of features, some of which are personalized. Cortana services may allow you to access services, information, or functionality provided by other Microsoft services or third-party apps and services. The service-specific terms of Section 14 also apply to your use of applicable Microsoft services accessed through Cortana services. Cortana provides information for your planning purposes only, and you should exercise your own independent judgment when reviewing and relying on this information. Microsoft does not guarantee the reliability, availability, or timeliness of personalized experiences provided by Cortana. Microsoft is not responsible if a Cortana feature delays or prevents you from receiving, reviewing, or sending a communication or notification or obtaining a service. Next, third-party apps and services. As part of delivering the Cortana services, Cortana may suggest and help you interact with third-party apps and services or third-party skills or connected services. If you choose, Cortana may exchange information with third-party apps and services such as your zip code and queries and responses returned by the third-party app and services to help you obtain requested services. Okay. Cortana may enable you to make purchases through third-party apps and services using the account preferences and settings you have established directly with those third-party apps and services. You can disconnect your Cortana service from third-party apps and services at any time. Your use of Cortana services to connect with third-party apps and services is subject to Section 5 of these terms. Publishers of third-party apps and services may change or discontinue the functionality or features of their third-party apps and services or integration with Cortana services. Microsoft is not responsible or liable for manufacturer-provided software or firmware. Software or firmware. Cortana-enabled devices. Number 4. Cortana-enabled devices are products or devices that are enabled to access Cortana services, or products or devices that are compatible with Cortana services. Cortana-enabled devices include third-party devices or products that Microsoft does not own, manufacture, or develop. Microsoft is not responsible or liable for these third-party devices or products. Number 5, software updates. We may automatically check your version of Cortana Services software and download software updates or configuration change or require any manufacturers or of Cortana enabled devices to keep the Cortana Services software up to date. That was Cortana Service Specific Terms. Next, Office-based services. Office services. Microsoft 365 Home, Microsoft 365 Personal Office Online, Sway, OneNote.com, and any other Microsoft 365 subscription or Office-branded services are for your personal, non-commercial use unless you have commercial use rights under a separate agreement with Microsoft. Use of apps such as Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, OneDrive, Access, and Publisher in Microsoft 365 Family, Microsoft 365 Personal, and any other Microsoft 365 subscription services is governed by supplemental license terms located at, there's a link there, together with these terms, located at https://aka.ms/use terms, and that was a link. Outlook number 2. Outlook includes use of Bing Maps. Any content provided through Bing Maps, including geocodes, can only be used within the product through which the content is provided. Your use of Bing Maps is governed by the Bing Maps end user terms of use available at, and there's a link there, and the Microsoft privacy statement available at, there's a link there. That was Office-based services, service-specific terms. Next, health bots. Health bots, which may include action plans, insights, reminders, and other features, are not medical devices and are only intended for fitness and wellness purposes with a program issued by a care provider. They are not designed or intended as substitutes for professional medical advice or for use in the diagnosis, cure, mitigation, prevention, or treatment of disease or other conditions. You assume full responsibility for your use of health bots. Microsoft is not responsible for any decisions you make based on information you receive from health bots. You should always consult a doctor with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition, diet, fitness, or wellness program before using health bots. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of information you accessed on or through the services. As with any technology, health bots may not work as intended for a variety of reasons, including loss of power connectivity. That was health bots service-specific terms. Let's go to digital goods. Digital goods. Through Microsoft Groove, Microsoft Movies and TV, Store, Microsoft Xbox services, and any other related and future services, Microsoft may enable you to obtain, listen to, view, play, or read, as the case may be, music, images, video, text, books, games, or other material or digital goods that you may get in digital form. The digital goods are only for your personal, non-commercial entertainment use. You agree not to redistribute, broadcast, publicly perform, or publicly display or transfer any copies of the digital goods. Digital goods may be owned by Microsoft or by third parties. In all circumstances, you understand and acknowledge that your rights with respect to digital goods are limited by these terms. Copyright law and the usage rules located at, there's a link there, gomicrosoft.com/p, etc. You agree that you will not attempt to modify any digital goods obtained through any of the services for any reason whatsoever, including for the purpose of disguising or changing ownership or source of digital goods. Microsoft or the owners of the digital goods may from time to time remove digital goods from the services without notice. That was digital goods service specific terms. Let's go to OneDrive. OneDrive, storage allocation. If you have more content stored in your OneDrive account than is provided to you under the terms of your free or paid subscription service for OneDrive, and you do not respond to notice from Microsoft to fix your account by removing excess content or moving to a new subscription plan with more storage, we reserve the right to close your account and delete or disable access to your content on OneDrive. 2. Service performance. Depending on factors such as your equipment, internet connection, and Microsoft's efforts to maintain the performance and integrity of its service, you may occasionally experience delays in uploading or syncing content on OneDrive. That's it. That was OneDrive's service-specific terms. Next, let's go to Microsoft Rewards. Microsoft Rewards, the program, enables you to earn redeemable points for activities such as qualified searches, acquisitions, and other offers from Microsoft. Offers may vary by market. A search is the act of an individual user manually entering text for the good faith purpose of obtaining Bing search results for such user's own research purposes and does not include any query entered by a bot, macro, or other automated or fraudulent means of any kind. In brackets, search. An acquisition is the process of purchasing goods or downloading and acquiring a license for digital content from Microsoft, whether free or paid. In brackets, acquisition. Rewards points are not offered for every purchase from Microsoft. Microsoft may offer additional opportunities to earn points from time to time, and each points earning offer will not be available in perpetuity. Your earned points can be redeemed for rewards listed in the redeem page at https://aka.ms/redeem-rewards, and it was a link that you can click. In brackets, rewards. For more information, see the rewards section at support.microsoft.com. It was a link. In brackets, FAQ. Number 1, program requirements. You need a valid Microsoft account and your devices must meet the minimum service requirements, and there's a link there. The program is open to users who reside in the markets listed in the frequently asked questions. Individuals can have no more than one program account, even if an individual has multiple email addresses, and households are limited to 6 accounts. The program is solely for your personal and non-commercial use. Number 2, points. Except for donating your points to a non-profit organization listed on the redeem page, you cannot transfer points. Points are not your personal property, and you may not obtain any cash or money in exchange for them. Points are awarded to you on a promotional basis. You cannot purchase points. Microsoft may limit the quantity of points or rewards per person, per household, or over a set period, in brackets, for example, a day, provided that you are not disadvantaged in breach of good faith. You may redeem no more than 550,000 points per calendar year in the program. Points earned in the program are not valid in and may not be used in combination with any other program offered by Microsoft or third parties. Unredeemed points expire if you do not earn or redeem any points for 18 months. Number 3, rewards. You may redeem your points or you may contribute points to a listed nonprofit organization by visiting the redeem page, and there's a link there, https://aka.ms/redeem rewards, or by signing up for automatic contributions to non-profit organizations through a giving program. There may be a limited number of a particular reward available, and those rewards will be delivered on a first-come, first-served basis. You may be required to provide additional information like your mailing address and a telephone number, in brackets, other than a VoIP or toll-free number, close brackets. And you may also be asked to enter a fraud prevention code or sign additional legal documents to redeem points for rewards. Once you order a reward, you cannot cancel it or return it for a refund of points except in the case of the defective products or as required by applicable law. If you order a reward that is out of stock or unavailable for other reasons, we may substitute a reward of comparable value or refund your points. Microsoft may update the rewards offered on the redeem page or discontinue offering specific rewards. Some rewards may have age eligibility requirements. Any such requirements will be included in the relevant offer. You are responsible for all federal, state, and local taxes and any other costs of accepting and using the reward. Rewards will be emailed to the email address associated with your Microsoft account, so keep your email address up to date. Rewards that are undeliverable will not be reissued and are therefore forfeited. Rewards are not for resale. For more information about contributing points automatically to non-profit organizations, see the Give with Bing frequently asked questions, and there's a link there. Number 4, canceling your participation in the program. If you no longer wish to participate in the Microsoft Rewards program, follow the instructions on the opt-out page, and there's a link there. If you opt out, you will immediately lose all of your available points. Your program account may be canceled if you do not log in at least once in an 18-month period. Additionally, Microsoft reserves the right to cancel the program account. Additionally, Microsoft reserves the right to cancel the program account of a specific user for tampering with, abusing, or defrauding the program, or for breach of these terms. Upon program cancellation by you or us, or if the program is suspended, you will have 90 days to redeem your points, otherwise those points will be forfeited. At the point of cancellation, your right to use the program and accrue future points ends. Other conditions: Microsoft reserves the right to disqualify you, disable your access to the program or your rewards account, and or withhold points. Microsoft reserves the right to disqualify you, disable your access to the program or your rewards account, and or withhold points, rewards, and charitable contributions if Microsoft believes you are tampering with or abusing any aspect of the program, ineligible to receive a reward for legal reasons such as export laws, or may be engaging in activities that violate these terms. Okay, so that was, what was that? Microsoft Rewards. That was Microsoft Rewards Surface specific terms. Next, let's go to Azure. The Azure Surface is governed by the terms and conditions of the separate agreement under which you obtained the Surface, as detailed on the Microsoft Azure legal information page at, and there's a link there, azure.microsoft.com/enus/support/legal. That was Microsoft Azure service-specific terms. Let's move on to Microsoft Soundscape. Microsoft Soundscape. You acknowledge that Microsoft Soundscape 1 is not designed, intended, or made available as a medical device, and 2 is not designed or intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, treatment, or judgment, and should not be used to replace or as a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, treatment, or judgment. That was Microsoft Soundscape's service-specific terms. Next, Power Platform. Power Platform. Your use of the Power Platform service is governed by the terms and conditions of the separate agreement under which you obtained the services, as detailed on the Power Platform legal information page at Microsoft Power Platform, and there's a link there, powerplatform.microsoft.com, etc., etc. That was Power Platform's service-specific terms. Binding arbitration and class action waiver. So that would be it for the service-specific terms part. We are moving on to the binding arbitration part and class action waiver. This is not a sub part. Binding arbitration and class action waiver. If you live in, excuse me, wait a minute. Let me reduce the size a little bit because it seems like it is extending. Okay, it's okay now. It's okay apparently. If you live in, or if a business, your principal place of business is in, close bracket, the United States, we hope we never have a dispute. But if we do, you and we agree to try for 90 days. I don't know what's wrong. I'm sorry. Let me try that again. Binding arbitration and class action waiver. If you live in, or if a business, your principal place of business is in the United States, we hope we never have a dispute. But if we do, you and we agree to try for 60 days upon receipt of a notice of dispute to resolve it informally. If we can't, you and we agree to binding individual arbitration before the American Arbitration Association, or AAA, under the Federal Arbitration Act, or FAA, and not to sue in court in front of a judge or jury. Instead, a neutral arbitrator will decide, and the arbitrator's decision will be final except for a limited right of review under the FAA. Class action lawsuits, class-wide arbitrations, private attorney general actions, requests for public injunctions, and any other proceeding or request for relief where someone acts in a representative capacity aren't allowed. Nor is combining individual proceedings without the consent of all parties. We, our, and us includes Microsoft and Microsoft's affiliates. A. Disputes covered everything except IP. The term dispute is as broad as it can be. It includes any claim or controversy between you and us concerning the services, the software related to the services or software's price, your Microsoft's account, advertising, marketing, communications, your purchase transaction, billing, or these terms under any legal theory, including contract, warranty, tort, statute, or regulation, except disputes relating to the enforcement or validity of your licensors, our licensors' intellectual property rights. B. Send a notice or dispute before arbitration. If you have a dispute that our customer service representatives can't resolve and you wish to pursue arbitration, you must first send an individualized notice of dispute to Microsoft Corporation, ATTN, Sila Arbitration, 1 Microsoft Way, Redmond, Washington 980526399, USA, or submit the form electronically. WA is Washington, right? It was WA. The notice of dispute form is available at, there's a link there. complete that form in full with all the information it requires. We'll do the same if we have a dispute with you. This notice of dispute is a prerequisite to initiating any arbitration. Any applicable statute of limitations will be toiled from the date of a properly submitted individualized notice of dispute through the first date on which I don't get it. Excuse me, let me try that again. Any applicable statute of limitations will be told from the date of a properly submitted individualized notice of dispute through the first date on which an arbitration may properly be filed under this section 15. C. Small claims court option. Instead of sending a notice of dispute, either you or we may sue the other party in small claims court seeking only individualized relief, so long as the action meets the small claims court's requirements and remains an individual action seeking individualized relief. The small claims court must be in your country of residence, or if a business, your principal place of business. D. Arbitration Procedure. The AAA will conduct any arbitration under its commercial arbitration rules, in brackets, or if you are an individual and use the services for personal or household use, or if the value of the dispute is less than $75,000, whether or not you are an individual or how you use the services, it's consumer arbitration rules, close brackets. So let me try to read that again without the brackets in brackets part. The AAA will conduct any arbitration under its commercial arbitration rules. For more information, see www.adr.org, and it was a link, or call 1-800-778-7879. Section 15 and these terms governs to the extent they conflict with any applicable AAA rules. To initiate an arbitration, submit the demand for arbitration form available at gomicrosoft.com/link and etc. It was a link to the AAA and mail a copy to us. The form must contain information that is specific to you and your claim. In a dispute involving $25,000 or less, any hearing will be telephonic or by video conference. Unless the arbitrator finds good cause to hold an in-person hearing instead. Any in-person hearing will take place in your country of residence, in brackets, or if a business, your principal place of business, close brackets. The arbitrator may award the same damages to you individually as a court could. The arbitrator may award declaratory or injunctive relief only to you individually to satisfy your individual claim, but not relief that would affect non-parties. The arbitrator rules on all issues except that a court has exclusive authority. Number 1, to decide arbitrarily as well as to decide arbitrability as well as formation, existence, scope, validity, and enforceability of this arbitration agreement. Number 2, to decide whether the parties have complied with the pre-arbitration requirements, including the individualized notice of dispute and demand for arbitration forms. Number 3, to enforce the prohibition on class representative, private attorney general, or combined actions or proceedings or public injunctive relief. Okay? And 4, to enjoin an arbitration from proceeding if it does not comply with this section 15. If your notice of dispute involves claims similar to those of at least 24 other customers, and if you and those other customers are represented by the same lawyers or by lawyers who are coordinating with each other, you and we agree that these claims will be related cases. Related cases may only be filed in batches of up to 50 individual arbitrations at a time, and those individual arbitrations will be resolved in the following manner. 1. For the first batch, each side may select up to 25 of these related cases to be filed, and resolved in individual arbitrations under this section 15. Number 2, none of the other related cases may be filed or prosecuted in arbitration until the first batch of up to 50 individual arbitrations is resolved. And number 3, if after that first batch the parties are unable to informally resolve the remaining related cases, a second batch of related cases may be filed where each side may select up to 25 of the related cases to be resolved in individual arbitrations under this section 15. This process of batch individual arbitration will continue until the parties resolve all related cases informally or through individual arbitrations. A court has exclusive authority to enforce this paragraph, including whether it applies to a given set of claims, and to enjoin the filing or prosecution of arbitrations that do not comply with this paragraph. E. Arbitration fees and payments. Disputes involving less than $75,000. We will promptly reimburse your filing fees and pay the AAA's and arbitrators' fees and expenses if 1. The dispute involves less than $75,000 and before initiating arbitration. Number 1, the dispute involves less than $75,000 and before initiating arbitration. Number 2, you complied with all pre-arbitration requirements in this section 15, including, if applicable, the related cases paragraph. Otherwise, the AAA rules will govern payment of filing fees and the AAA's and arbitrator fees and expenses. That doesn't make sense, excuse me. The AAA rules will govern payment of filing fees and the AAA's and arbitrators' fees. The AAA rules will govern payment of filing fees and the AAA's and arbitrators' fees and expenses. Okay, if at the conclusion of the arbitration, the arbitrator awards you more than our last written offer made before the arbitrator was appointed, we will pay you 1. The amount of the award or $1,000. Whichever is more, and 2, for any reasonable attorney fees you incurred and any reasonable expenses, including expert witnesses fees and costs that your attorney accrued in connection with your individual arbitration. Number 2, disputes involving $75,000 or more. The AAA rules will govern payment of filing fees and the AAA's and arbitrators' fees and expenses. F. Rejecting future arbitration changes. You may reject any change we make to Section 15 except address changes by personally signing and sending us notice within 30 days of the change or by U.S. mail to the address in Section 15B. If you do, the most recent version of Section 15 before the change you rejected will apply. G. Severability. If after exhaustion of all appeals, a court find any part of this Section 15 unenforceable as to any claim or request for a remedy, then the parties agree to arbitrate all claims and remedies subject to the arbitration before litigating in court any remaining claims or remedies. Open bracket, such as a request for a public injunction remedy, in which case the arbitrator issues an award on liability and individual relief before a court considers that request, close brackets. Let me try that again. Open brackets, such as a request for a public injunction remedy, in which case the arbitrator issues an award on liability and individual relief before a court considers that request, close brackets. Otherwise, if any other part of Section 15 is found to be unenforceable, the remainder will remain in effect, open brackets, with an arbitration award issued before any court proceeding begins, close brackets. Miscellaneous. This section and section 1.9. So that was the binding arbitration and class action waiver part. Okay. We are moving to another section here, miscellaneous. This section and section 1.9 for amounts incurred before the end of these terms 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 18, and those that by their terms apply after the terms end will survive any termination or cancellation of these terms. Okay, so let's refer to those. Now, section 1 and 9. Let's see what is section 1 and 9. Section 1 is your privacy, right? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And 9 is payment terms, yes. And then miscellaneous. 1, 9, so privacy, payment terms, 10, 11, 12, 13 would be, excuse me if you are dizzy, let me try to skip it using the software here. Number 10 is contracting entity, choice of law, jurisdiction. Number 11 is warranties. Number 12 is limitation of liability. Number 13, service specific term. Number 15 is store, which we are going to read, which we have read the two parts of it earlier in the video. Oh, that was my bad. It wasn't the store. Number 15 is binding arbitration and class action waiver that we just read. Number 18 would be reservation of rights and feedback that I haven't read yet. Let's try that again. This section and section 1.9 for amounts incurred before the end of these terms 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 18, and those that by their terms apply after the terms end will survive any termination or cancellation of these terms. We may assign these terms in whole or in part at any time without notice to you. You may not assign your rights or obligations under these terms or transfer any rights to use the services. This is the entire agreement between you and Microsoft for your use of the services. It supersedes any prior agreements between you and Microsoft regarding your use of the services. All parts of these terms apply to the maximum extent permitted by relevant law. If a court or arbitrator holds that we can't enforce a part of these terms as written, we may replace those terms with similar terms to the extent enforceable under the relevant law, but the rest of these terms won't change. Section 15G says that what happens, not with that. 15G says what happens if parts of Section 15, arbitration and class action waiver, are found to be unenforceable. Section 15G prevails over this section if it consistent with it. Except for Section 15, arbitration and class action waiver, these terms are solely for your and our benefit. They aren't for the benefit of any other person except for Microsoft's successors and assigns. 17. Export laws. You must comply with all domestic and international export laws and regulations that apply to the software and or services, which include restrictions on destinations, end users, and end use. For further information on geographic and export restrictions, visit www.microsoft.com/exporting, and there's a link there. This is the 18. Reservation of rights and feedback, and this will survive. Except as expressly provided under these terms, Microsoft does not grant you a license or any other rights of any type under any patents, know-how, copyrights, trade secrets, trademarks, or other intellectual property owned or controlled by Microsoft or any related entity, including but not limited to any name, trade dress, logo, or equivalents. If you give to Microsoft any idea, proposal, suggestion, or feedback, including without limitation ideas for new products, technologies, promotions, product names, product feedback and product improvements or feedback in bracket you give to Microsoft without charge, royalties, or other obligation to you. The right to make, have made, create derivative works, use, share, and commercialize your feedback in any way and for any purpose. You will not give feedback that is subject to a license that requires Microsoft to license its software, technologies, or documentation to any third party because Microsoft includes your feedback in them. Okay, next, notices. Notices and procedure for making claims of intellectual property infringement. Microsoft respects the intellectual property rights of third parties. If you wish to send a notice of intellectual property infringement, including claims of copyright infringement, please use our procedures for submitting notice of infringement, and it is a link there. Only inquiries relevant to this procedure will receive a response. Microsoft uses the processes set out in Title 17, United States Code, Section 512, to respond. Let me repeat that. Only inquiries relevant to this procedure will receive a response. Microsoft uses the processes set out in Title 17, United States Code, Section 512, to respond to notices of copyright infringement. In appropriate circumstances, Microsoft may also disable or terminate accounts of users of Microsoft services who may be repeat infringers. Notices and procedures regarding intellectual property concerns in advertising. Please review our intellectual property guidelines, and there's a link there, regarding intellectual property concerns on our advertising network. Copyright and trademark notices. The services are copyright Microsoft Corporation and or its suppliers, 1 Microsoft Way, Redmond, WA 98052 USA, all rights reserved. The terms incorporate Microsoft Trademark and brand guidelines, and there's a link there, as amended from time to time. Microsoft and the names, logos, and icons of all Microsoft products, software, and services may be either unregistered or registered trademarks of the Microsoft Group of companies in the United States and or other jurisdictions. The following is a non-exhaustive list of Microsoft's trademark, and there's a link there. The names of actual companies and products may be the trademarks of their respective owners. Any rights not expressly granted in these terms are reserved. Certain software used in certain Microsoft website servers is based in part on the work of the independent JPEG Group, copyright 1991 to 1996, Thomas G. Lane. All rights reserved. GNU Plot, software used in certain Microsoft website server is copyright 1986 to 1993, Thomas Williams, Colin Kelly. All rights reserved. Medical notice. Microsoft does not provide medical or any other healthcare advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition, diet, fitness, or wellness program. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of information you access on or through the services. Stock quotes and index data, including index values. Financial information provided through the services is for your personal, non-commercial use only. You may not use any of the financial data or marks of any third-party licensor in connection with the issuance, creation, sponsorship, trading, marketing, or promotion of any financial instruments or investment products. For example, indices, derivatives, structured products, investment funds, exchange-traded funds, investment portfolios, etc., where the price, return, and or performance of the instrument or investment product is based on, related to, or intended to track any of the finance data, close brackets, without a separate written agreement with the third-party licensor. Let me read that again with the in bracket part. You may not, You may not use any of the finance data. You may not use any of the finance data or marks of any third-party licensor in connection with the issuance, creation, sponsorship, trading, marketing, or promotion of any financial instruments or investment products without a separate written agreement with the third-party licensor. Financial notice. Microsoft isn't a broker or dealer or registered investment advisor under United States federal securities law or securities law of other jurisdictions, and doesn't advise individuals as to the advisability of investing in, purchasing or selling securities or other financial products or services. Nothing contained in the services is an offer or solicitation to buy or sell any security. Neither Microsoft nor its licensors of stock quotes or index data endorse or recommend any particular financial products or services. Nothing in the services is intended to be professional advice, including without limitation investment or tax advice. Tax notices. Please review our tax notification page, and there's a link there for U.S. state and local sales or use tax information. Notice about DH264 AVC and VC1 video standards. The software may include H264 AVC and or VC1 codec technology that is licensed by MPEG-LA LLC. This technology is a format for data compression of video information. MPEG-LA LLC requires this notice. This product is licensed under the H264 AVC and the VC1 patent portfolio licenses for the personal and non-commercial use of a consumer to This product is licensed under the H264 AVC and the VC1 patent portfolio licenses for the personal and non-commercial use of a consumer to A. encode video in compliance with the standards or video standards, and or decode H264 AVC and VC1 video that was encoded by a consumer engaged in a personal and non-commercial activity and or was obtained from a video provider licensed to provide such video. That was the B part. No license is granted or shall be applied for any other use. Additional information may be obtained from MPEG-LA LLC. See the MPEG-LA website www.mpegla.com, and there's a link there. For clarification purposes only, this notice does not limit or inhibit the use of the software provided under these terms for normal business use that are personal to that business, which do not include 1. Redistribution of the software to third parties, or 2. Creation of material with the video standards compliant technologies for distribution to third parties. And then notice about H265 HEVC video standard. Okay, that was the end of the H264 AVC and VC1, and now the HEVC video standard. The software may include H265 HEVC coding technology. Access Advanced LLC requires this notice. If included, the H265 HEVC technology in this software is covered by one or more claims of the HEVC patents listed at patentlist.accessadvance.com, and there's a link there. Depending on how you obtain the software, this product may be licensed under the HEVC Advanced patent portfolio. If this software is installed on a Microsoft device, additional licensing information can be found at aka.ms HEVC virtual patent marking, and there's a link there. Standard application license terms. This one I have read it at the beginning, and covered services also I have read it at the beginning. So that would be the end of Microsoft Service Agreement. But there are related text or legal documents in this Microsoft Services Agreement that since it's mentioned inside, it's they are inseparable. But that is again just my opinion. I'm not a legal advisor. I'm not I'm not giving you a professional assurance or whatsoever. Please take this with a grain of salt. I also, while talking about my opinion, is using some kind of tuning attitude, which means I am not trying to give professional assurance and trying to be accurate. Instead, I'm trying to make mistakes and see whether and figure out what's true from tuning up out of those mistakes, you know. So I would be making mistakes. Thank you very much for watching these videos, and please leave a comment in the comment section and leave a like. It is important to read all of those other licenses, such as the usage rules, and there's also the code of conduct, and there are also export terms, export to Cuba, for example, North Korea and such countries. You can find it in the Microsoft Service Agreement links, and there are several other texts that would be applicable to your situation, your unique situation. I would imagine a lot of people use Microsoft Office and Office 365. Please check out the specific Office 365, where is it? The specific Office terms that they give out here. Where is it? Office-based services here. Please check this out as well. I will go for now. Goodbye. Thank you very much.